Hi everyone, welcome to ETH Talk, your weekly look at the ETH Online markets. I'm your host, delonewolf. And while I head over to the chair, I got in the Planet Side 2 beta. It's been a lot of fun for now. And you might have heard my brother in the background who's playing XCOM. And yeah, he's having some alien infestation problems, so from time to time he starts yelling out because he's in trouble or barking out orders at his soldiers, but we'll try and do the ETH Talk anyways. So, as per usual, we'll start out with titanium and the low-end minerals, which for some reason keeps dropping my frame rate every time I click on titanium. That's a 1 year chart, yeah, that's why it looked like that. On this chart for 3 months there seems to be a very slight downtrend towards 6 ISK. So I expect the actual prices, there we go again, must be the amount of orders or something like that. 590 in station 582. So it's a slight downtrend in titanium. It was below 6 ISK for quite a while, but it's really very slow and gradual. So I'm guessing that supply is just increasing at the moment. Let's have a look at pyrite, which is at station orders 1220, 1208, so again no margin. And that seems a little more pronounced in the downtrend here, because it was really only since the 23rd of September, something like that, that it's been going down from over 13 ISK to 1220. So yeah, that's slightly down, almost half an ISK something. Yeah, let's see if it's also the case for Mexalon, which is now at 59.90 for the sellers, 59.25 for the buyers. So that's slightly different charts, with two tops at, what would that be, 62, but the price is below 60. Yeah, there might be a very slow downtrend in minerals at the moment. Pretty interesting, but with no margin. And Jesus, keeps resetting my frame rates. Anyways, we'll see. Like I said, no margin, so I just expect that this is increased supply, possibly due to a general increase in ETH Online activity. Yeah, slight downtrend in minerals, which I would say have been holding on quite well after the summer so far. Let's have a look at Tick Tree with Tengus. Station sellers 196,500, station buyers 191. So I think the downtrend is continuing. Yep. The nerf to heavy missiles and the expected nerfs to Tick Tree are not doing the price of Tengus any favors. Well below 200 million now at 196,500. So there are some decently cheap Tengus to be bought at the moment, historically speaking, but yeah, it's definitely on a downtrend. So if you want to hold out for an even cheaper price, that might be an option as well. Now let's have a look at a couple of Tech 1 ships. The Talos, well, it knew an uptick in September, not a lot, but back from below 80 to above 80 million. Let's have a quick look at the market prices. Yeah, just around 80 million for the sellers and 77 million for the buyers. So that's only a 3 million that's only a 3 million ISK margin. The market is around 1 year old now, so I'm suspecting that more and more people are getting some well-researched PPOs going and getting their production lines going, and that's why this margin, which used to be quite a lot larger, I've seen 10 million margins, so that's closing very rapidly, and the Talos is, after almost a year, starting to become a more mature market with less margin in it. So it's going to be interesting. If you look at the price history, we should almost have a 1 year chart. Yeah, we get it almost. It's started off with some amazingly high prices, then quickly dropped down to around production value. I would say just above 50 million was around what you had to put in minerals at the time. Then it's been going up quite a lot to around the 80 million price, and now it's been going up and down with a slight downtrend gradually. So the price is finding itself and margins are lowering. People are of course having better researched PPOs as well as time progresses. So I think that's why we're slowly seeing a slightly lower price with lower margins as well. So that's pretty interesting to see how this market has matured, and it's going to be interesting to see how this will reflect on the new destroyers that will be coming out, which will know their start with the next expansion. So that's something to keep in mind if you're planning to start. This chart is something to keep in mind if you're planning to start the new destroyer production, if that's when you want to try and get into a new market. Let's have a look at the Drake, which has known a downtrend over the last 3 months, but it's holding on pretty well now at, what would that be, 46,500? Yeah, just above 35 million, I would say. 45 million for the buy order, so you can pick up Drakes for that price. As you can see right here, the margin is maybe 1.5 million, although the price is also half of the Talos. As you can see, a mature market generally can have high volume and very low margins like this, with prices that are usually quite a lot more stable. If I go for a 1-year chart, a lot more stable. They went from 30 million to over 55 million though. But this scale is completely different, 30 to 55, whereas the Talos scale reaches from 50 million to 250 million because of some data points right at the beginning of the market with 200 million there. So yeah, although this chart doesn't look very stable, it's actually decently stable because the band in between which it's fluctuating is a lot smaller than what the Talos was. Galente fuel blocks probably stabilized. Yeah, they stabilized at around 12,500, maybe 13,000 ISK in price. So that's okay. If you're producing, I wouldn't say it's a time to sell. It's more a time to stock up, in my opinion. Oh, I forgot to add them last time. So let's have a quick look again at the logistics. Here's the Guardian. I'll add that one to the quick bar just to remind me to check out the logistics, which are on an uptrend since right after the summer basically. So that's pretty interesting. The one that was requested was not a Scimitar, which is on a downtrend. I think it was then the Caldari Basilisk, yeah, which is also slightly on a downtrend, and that's pretty interesting. Galente Oneros, which I think is the least popular one, is pretty stable. So yeah, take two logistics markets, logistic cruisers anyways, because we might at some point see logistics frigates coming in as well. The Guardian knows a serious uptrend, and if I'm not mistaken, that was my pick for trading last week or 2 weeks ago. So yeah, that's pretty interesting. Let's have a quick look at the prices. 135 million, 135 million, 10 million margin. I think that's because the volume is not that high. Scimitar 139, 133, so slightly below what the Guardian is, with a slight downtrend on those, and a smaller margin of only 5 million. Let's have a look at the Caldari Basilisk. 128, 117, 500. That's an interesting one in my opinion. A 10 million margin on a lower price, and the Basilisk should have a decent volume to trade with. While the MR has known its uptick, which I sort of expected, because I think it's it's really the most popular one. The Guardian, I think it's used quite a lot in medium-sized warfare. If you look at Rooks and Kings, they use them quite a lot. But that price gone up and might be stabilizing here at around the 160 million mark. Whereas the Caldari one still knows a decent margin, but decently low prices as well. So that one might be one that I'm looking for to trade if I would want to do some trading in cruisers, in logistics cruisers. The Basilisk seems pretty interesting with a decent margin and what I would consider a rather low price as well. You could make some good deals in that one, where you could previously probably do some with the Guardian if you went in like 2 weeks ago. Yeah, pretty interesting, that Take-Two market, pretty diverse as well, with a serious uptrend in the Guardians and then a downtrend in the other popular logistics ships. Very interesting market if you're a trader, I think. And finally, let's have a look at that Plex. I'm sure everybody was waiting for that. 3-month chart uptick, the red line, which is the moving average, seems to have known a slight quirk there. So let's have a quick look at the market prices. Ooh, 575 million for the sellers and 562 million for the buyers. Who would have thought we were talking about a bubble over the course of last week when prices hit 700 million? Oh, that's right, I thought it might have been a bubble. Pretty interesting. It's not very visible on the 20-day moving average, of course, but the band is right back below 600 million, which seems a bit more normal for me. Let's have a look if we can see anything on that 1-year chart, which yeah, is knowing. If you look at a year ago, it's still an uptick towards the expansion, but right here, as I expected, we were in a seriously unsustainable bubble, and prices went down significantly. 575 million. That dropped 100 million since I last looked at it at the beginning of last week. So now it's difficult. Now it's really difficult, because I honestly think that this might be another buying opportunity, because it pulled back so much so quickly, and the margin is back down to, well, 13 million. It's still a decently high margin. If I look at those buy orders, I think you might be able to pick up Plex below 570 if you're lucky, and then ride that back up above 600, which is a decent profit, I think. But I'm doing my purchasing in the Dodixie market because that one tends to lag a little bit behind Dodixie, Jita, I should say, and I'm not sure if this is the buying opportunity yet. I do think it is, but I have to check for myself personally if it is also already there in Dodixie. And you know, if Dodixie is like at 590, I can expect that one to drop even more, because it tends to lag behind Jita. If, however, Dodixie is already at like 550 or something, then that means that the Jita price is already back on the uptrend, and yeah, buying them at Dodixie right away then is a good idea. So I'll have to compare the two markets, but I think my theory that we were in a bubble, in a speculative bubble there at 670 million in Dodixie prices, and I heard it went up to 700 million right here in Jita, has been validated with this serious crash. I mean, 100 million in less than a week, in half a week, is a significant drop back in prices. I would say if you were thinking of buying a couple Plex for around the expansion to actually use, this is a pretty good time to buy a couple ones, I think, just for your personal use. Prices have dropped down significantly, but I do expect them to go back up towards the expansion. And I'm going to check out the Dodixie market, see if I want to get back into it with a couple purchases right now, or if I want to wait out a little bit. We'll have to wait and see. Anyways, there we go. The bubble has burst, and I will see you all next time.